Okay, so the whole, oh wait, yeah. I don't know if it's working or not. I mean, it might be. It says I've already recorded 17 minutes. Okay, so anyway, the whole primaria, what is it? Prima materia is from the Philosopher's Stone. It basically means the matter that created the universe. Now we know. So they're saying that in Hindu mythology, Prakti is similar to that. Okay, so Prakti is woven from three threads called Gunas, Gunas, or qualities, which create all that we experience. These qualities correspond, in our terms, to matter, energy, and consciousness. The first of the gunas is called tamas, Tamas, and it represents matter, mass, or the heavy stillness of inertia. It is prakti in its densest form. The second guna is called rajas, Rajas, representing energy in the form of motion, force, over and the overcoming of inertia. This is prakti in its energetic changing form. The third is called sattva, Sattva, meaning mind, intelligence, or consciousness. This is why can't I do it now? Prakriti in its abstract form. The gunas can also be described as tamas, the magnetic force, rajas, the kinetic force, and sattva, the balancing force between these two. Sattva rules the causal plane, rajas rules the subtle plane, and tamas, the gross or physical plane. In the continuous creation of the cosmos, the three gunas intertwine to form the various states or planes of existence that we experience, arising from a basic state of equilibrium. The gunas maintain this equilibrium through constant flux. Other tamas may dominate, giving us matter. At times, rajas may dominate, giving us energy. When sattva is predominant, the experience is primarily mental or spiritual. However, the three gunas always retain their own essence, much as the three strands of a braid remain distinct yet weave together to make one braid. The totality of gunas is believed to remain constant, mirroring the principles of energy conservation accepted by physics today. Within our braid, we may alter the number of strands in each section, yet the total size of the braid remains constant. The chakras are comprised of varying proportions of the three gunas. These three qualities are the essence of a basic, unified primordial substance. Together they compose the dance of the universe. Yet separately they are quite distinct. The gunas describe the three steps in a cosmic dance, and by studying their interrelationships, we may learn the steps that join in the dance ourselves. The gunas describe the steps in a cosmic dance, and by studying their interrelationships, we may learn the steps and join in the dance ourselves. In the following pages, the terms matter, energy, and consciousness will be used quite frequently. These terms describe qualities inherent in all aspects of life, the qualities of the three gunas. These terms are not three separate entities and are never found alone without varying proportions of their counterparts. In fact, it is impossible to actually separate them except under an intellectual framework. Energy, matter, and consciousness intertwine to form all that we experience in the same way as the gunas join together to form the cosmos. The chakras are all comprised of these three ingredients in varying degrees. Matter, tamas, rules the lower chakras being root, sacral, and solar plexus. I believe those are the three lower chakras. Energy, Rajas, rules the middle chakras, and consciousness, Sattva, rules the upper chakras, yet some proportion of each thread is found at every level and in each and every living thing. To balance the weaving of these three basic threads is to bring balance to ourselves in mind, body, and spirit. Chakras and the Kundalini. So this is a little piece of writing that they begin this section of the book with. Her luster is that of a strong flash of young lightning. Her sweet murmur is like the indistinct hum of swarms of love-mad bees. She produces melodious poetry. It is she who maintains all the beings of the world by means of inspiration and expiration, and shines in the cavity of the root lotus like a chain of brilliant lights. Sat Chakra Nirupana is the writer. When Shakti resides in the base chakra, she rests. Here she becomes the coiled serpent, Kundalini Shakti, wrapped 3 1/2 times around the Shiva Lingam in the Muladhara. In this form, she is the inherent potential in matter, the primordial feminine force of creation, and the evolutionary force in human consciousness. In most people, she remains dormant, peacefully sleeping in her coiled abode at the base of the spine. Her name comes from the word kundala, which means coiled. When awakened, this goddess unfolds from her coils and climbs upward chakra by chakra, reaching the crown chakra at the top of the head, where she hopes to find Shiva descending to meet her. As she pierces each chakra, she brings the chakras awakening to her subject. In fact, some believe it is only Kundalini Shakti who can open the chakras. If she is able to reach the crown chakra and complete her journey, she is united with her counterpart, Shiva, divine consciousness, and the result is enlightenment or bliss. Kundalini Yoga is an ancient and esoteric discipline designed to arouse the Kundalini Shakti force and raise it up the spine. It often involves initiation by a trained guru and years of specific yoga and meditation practices. However, there are many people on and off the spiritual path who are having spontaneous spiritual emergence experiences, some with genuine Kundalini awakenings. So it is worthwhile to examine this mysterious and powerful force. And what I have to say about that is, after Bodhi was killed by the state of California, about 3 years after his death, I really started to kind of lose my mind. I felt a lot of guilt. I blamed myself. I went over my life circumstances and decisions I had made, and it really felt like I was dancing with the devil, to be perfectly honest with you. I didn't sleep for days on end. My anxiety was so high. It was awful. It was awful. And I was still having to work 40 hours a week and try to fight the family court system for custody of my daughter. It was a really awful time of life. So I started doing a lot of meditation, and I did a lot of chakra meditation. A lot. And then after I got charged with false kidnapping charges by Opal's father, I had a little rescue mission. There was a rescue mission engaged. It didn't go too well, but I am where I am now, and all said and done, I got out of having to fight for my right to be a mother to my child, because what the court system was doing was wrong and corrupt. So anyway, I left the state, and then I think I had something very similar, if not, I'm pretty sure I had a spiritual emergency happen, because I started having visions and stuff like that, but we don't have to go into that right now. But then I heard about a book a friend told me about called The Ultimate Journey. And that book talks about spiritual emergencies and people who it mostly focuses on people who are dying of cancer, and a psychologist named Stanislav Grof did gave these clients acid in small doses under trained supervision. And he talks a lot in that book about spiritual emergencies and how they manifest and what they look like. So I think that might be what happened to me, is because just of all the trauma and the damage that was happening to me, and all the aggression that was being thrown at me by the court system, despite my tragic loss of my son, Bodhi. I went into a spiritual emergency. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say about that. Okay, when awakened, this goddess unfolds from her coils. Okay, so we read that. The paths Kundalini takes are quite varied. Most commonly, Kundalinis begin at the feet or the base of the spine and travel up towards the head. This movement can be accompanied by shaking spasms or feelings of intense heat. Accounts of a Kundalini, however, also include similar intense activity traveling from the head downward or from the middle outward. Sometimes Kundalini symptoms happen within a matter of seconds and then vanish, occurring at intervals of hours or years. At other times, the symptoms may last for weeks, months, or years. Kundalini is generally a unique and powerful experience that results in profound consciousness change. This change may be experienced as increased alertness, sudden insight, visions, voices, a feeling of weightlessness, a sense of purity within the body, or transcendent bliss. There is some evidence that Kundalini sets up a wave-like movement of the cerebrospinal fluid, which triggers the pleasure centers of the brain, giving us the blissful state so often described by mystics. A Kundalini experience is not always pleasant, however. Many people have extreme difficulty functioning in their mundane lives while Kundalini is thrashing about in their chakras. While Kundalini pushes her way through your blocks, you may find difficulty sleeping or a dislike for energies associated with lower chakras, such as eating or sex. Yet some people become highly sexual after Kundalini awakening. There may also be some profound depression or fear as you look at your life through the eyes of this serpent goddess. She is a healing force, though not always gentle, as the veils of illusion are drawn away from your normal reality. For those who experience spontaneous Kundalini awakenings and do not have a spiritual teacher to work with, there are some referral agencies that can provide you with experienced therapists who understand the spiritual energy and will not necessarily judge it as crazy or psychotic. Interesting, right? It makes me want to cry, because people want to say I was crazy. I wasn't crazy. I had something very tragic happen to me with little to no support. The serpent is an archetypical symbol throughout the world, representing enlightenment, immortality, and a path to the gods. In Genesis, the serpent led Adam and Eve to taste the fruit from the tree of knowledge. This symbolizes the beginning of Kundalini, creating the unsensing desire for understanding, yet grounded in the material world. The apple. What a great way to look at it, right? Rather than as a sinful act, looking at it as an act of curiosity. It's kind of what we do with kids. Oftentimes we get mad at them and want to, out of love, and we want them to fall into the path of society so that they're not targeted, but they're curious and they want to know why, right? And that's not such a bad thing. It's only a bad thing because society doesn't support it, right? So anyway, I like this interpretation of it. Where was I? In Egypt, the pharaohs wore crowns with serpent symbols over their third eye to represent their godly stature. Did this represent ascended Kundalini? Even today, the double serpent wraps itself around the staff of healing, forming the modern medical symbol. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I'm going to give it a shot. The caduceus. The caduceus clearly imitates the winding of Ida and Pingala, the central nadis crossing between the chakras surrounding the sushumna. The intertwined serpents are also symbolic of the double helix pattern of our DNA. This is like the stuff that the book The Flower of Life talks about. This kind of thing can be found in all of nature, everywhere. The basic information carrier of life. Kundalini is a universal concept for a very powerful, enlightening force. It is also very tricky and unpredictable force to play around with, one which may be loaded with intense pain, confusion, and frequently may be interpreted by the world as insanity. This may or may not be accompanied by the more positive aspects listed above. It opens the chakras, but like opening each cell in a jail, Kundalini may release whatever is lodged within the chakras. This may be expanded insights or experiences, or it may be old traumas or abuses that caused the chakra to shut down originally. Now, I know I went through some of that. I know I did.